to rely on just 4 players to find the kills. That said, let's load into Coastline. It's our third and final map between these two teams. The Soniqs will be starting on attack, Team Empire on defense. Will we see similar operator bans? The Soniqs love to ban out Hibana and Mira.
Yeah.
But in this particular case, they're going to ban out Thatcher and Mira. Team Empire taking Nomad off the board. Will this be a Valkyrie? Yes, it is. So the only change is that Nomad will be banned instead of a Heartbreacher.
Yeah. So, and again, it's not really super crucial to ban out the Heartbreacher on Coastline. Like, sure, the map did get a slight rework, if you guys were unaware. Inside of that VIP room, there is now a double reinforceable wall to the outside. So, Heartbreach is now more important, but I don't think it's worth banning like Ace or Hibana necessarily, because if you ban one, you'll just bring the other, and you'll always have the can openers, worst case in that secondary Heartbreach gadget. Grixer, showing the Ying, this is probably a 6-pick. He's not typically a Ying player, at least. There it is, 6-pick off it to the Finga. That makes a lot more sense. He is the Finga player. And joystick 6 in from the Muzzy onto the Jaeger. All is good in the world. This is like what we know these teams for. They're playing the operators that we love them for and that they're showing good performance on. So, pretty happy Daisy with that. It is going to be a hook at defense to start for Team Empire. And now, as you said, Park, earlier, Empire, they have some history with this map of Coastline. They've played it maybe once or twice, maybe 3.
No. Don't get me started.
Anyway.
Every time somebody references Empire on Coastline, myself included.
It was fun.
I don't care what you think. I had to cast it.
It was fun to casting. I heard your enjoyment in your voice. That was some pretty highlight moments.
I know you had to play it, but every single time it happens, my eyes glaze over and I black out for roughly about 30 seconds, and I'm liable to say something I'd regret, like, you know, I love the G2 roster, and then I realize I make mistakes and I have to apologize for them. So we don't talk about that fateful match, but continue on with your talk of Empire on Coastline.
I'm thankful that you apologized for your mean words that you just said, because honestly, it hurts a little bit in the inner heart. It doesn't feel very good. Empire trying to get cheeky with that early spawn pick from always. I like this angle here, it's quite cheeky. Super, making sure default cams are taken out. We already saw it early in Oregon that when default cams are being shot, that is a bad situation to be in. So you want to cover your bases, right? You gotta get the default cams, you gotta get safe, you gotta start droning the building and the setup on site, and then start making decisions as to how you're gonna pull that apart. Now, Soniqs, they do not have a whole lot of verticality from below. They're not bringing the buck. They're also not bringing the execution of Ying or the Lion just yet. Lion is an operator that we know they like to play on this map. I believe it was Yeti who played it. Usually, right now, we're just kind of sitting ducks, maybe waiting for a move from Empire, waiting for them to step out of line and get picked off, but taking it slow to start off. That's a good nade. Almost takes out Shepard.
Playing now by the B-bomb site, he can drop and then head through Sunrise, exactly what he's going to do, and try to get back in, but he's caught by Yeti's drone, who's going to make these calls. We have player cams now, look at that, but it's the running man. Yeti takes out Joystick, he knew this was coming, he had the drone prepped and ready, and it's wonderfully orchestrated by the Soniqs team.
I mean, that is a great way to start. They're playing it slow from the side of Soniqs, but now Joystick walks into them. Dan finds a refrag back onto Super. That's the Heartbreach of Hibana off the board. He's not really been doing crazy amounts of damage so far, but the shield has been cleared. Super can now make calls from the drones and from the grave and ensure that his teammates have the guidance that they need to continue out throughout this round. Always looking to flank the white stairs. Might find Rexen as he drops here. Almost. Not quite, doesn't shoot the bullet, but should know the whereabouts of Rexen, unless Rexen figures it out first. Sees the head, goes to the shot, gets the in, and the kill. Shepard injured from a nade as well.
Always looking the wrong way, and immediately a follow-up Adrenal Surge from Grixer. Super down, and now Rexen will join him. Shepard has been dropped. So the teams at a 3v3, though it is a 2v3, as Shepard needs to be retrieved. Scyther down, Dan the only body upright, and he gets taken out by a beautifully tossed nade. Nade's credited with the final 2 kills. And just like that, the Soniqs take round 1.
An explosive first round, if you will. 4 nades were tossed, 3 of them almost got kills. 2 of them, in fact, did, so quite nice. Rexen always, if that gunfight had gone the other way in that top white stairs and Aqua situation, that could have been a little bit of a different round, but always, unfortunately, looked at the wrong angle. Rexen, he actually sniffed it out. He got the angle, he got the advantage, got the kill. That's great for him. Dan showing the Capcom once again. Last time it actually had a decent amount of success. I believe that 1 trap went off, maybe 2, so that's not too bad out of 5. Especially not in competitive play of Pro League or Invitationals, even the highest level of play. You would think that pro players would never ever get hit by a Capcom trap, but You can also argue that in pro play we're not as used to Capcan. He is seeing more plays somewhat, but it gotta be in the back of your head throughout the entire round, because if you forget about it for a single moment and you walk through a door, you might just get blown to pieces, and that doesn't feel very good. Oryx being played as well, we actually see this quite often on Coastline specifically. It's not something we often see a crazy ton of value from, but it does give you the options to go for a hatch flank. Of course, you can maneuver around the map very fast. He is the fastest operator in the game, and you can also break a lot of walls and make holes in walls.
Empire love running Oryx on this map as well, and I know that it's something that you and I were actually quite critical of in regards to Empire in Sweden, and something that we were critical of, and I was critical of all the way back in Mexico, because you weren't a caster in Mexico, obviously. So, but we talk about this Oryx play and the utility that he brings to the team, or rather lack thereof. And in all reality, a lot of teams like him because, as you said, he's very mobile. He can move around quite quickly. One of the hallmarks of Coastline is how fast you can get from one side of the map to the other, largely because of that giant opening in the courtyard. So Oryx can just tear through this map. He's got a 1.5 scope on a low recoil T5, which does a good amount of damage. He's just a very solid operator for keeping map control and doing tons of damage.
Tons of damage. That is a...
so much damage!
Tons of damage. Alibi as well, same story. Same story with Capcan. 1.5s all across the board. That is the name of Coastline, right? You want to have fighting capabilities because it is going to get very bloody. It is going to be decided by gunfights. Kind of like Oregon, but less execution-based. It's just a bunch of brutal fighting across the map.
There's a little bit of calm now, 1 minute in. Scyther's still holding, and he's been the focal point for this team. He just narrowly misses out on one of the players. There's a drone in front of him. Does he see it? That's the question. Yes, he does. No bullets expended. He just knifes it away. Still over by Aqua, watching the doorway, but he has long since missed the Yana of Yeti, who is as good as gone, rotating back to join the rest of his team towards that sunrise hookah portion of the map. This is a double bar defense for Empire, so you're going to want to try to take control of above. An early pick for the Soniqs yet again as they open things up on round number 2. Scyther being down, so we're not going to really see what the Oryx is capable of doing as Grixer meets him. Grixer's been having a great series, by the way, and has been so pivotal on this Finca.
Yeah, I will correct you. It is a kitchen defense, which I think you knew, but...
Oh, apologies. Yes.
It's all good. Just for the viewers at home, we are not a double bar, in case you guys are thinking, oh, what is he talking about? Casters don't know anything about the game. We are in kitchen.
Maybe I'm just thinking about bars.
Yeah. To be fair, there were people roaming over in bar, and they can easily get messed up. I do that myself as a player and as a caster as well. But now we see the vertical plays coming out onto kitchen, and now we can see Soniqs kind of making their move. Where are they going to be executing? We see a guy outside stock door. We see a guy cooler stairs. They got the setup.
There's 2 bodies playing as well from Empire inside of the main lobby. Yeti looking for one, finds Capcan, but he has to be wary of the push from Always. Look at that, back to back. These two might pass each other, flying under the radar, unbeknownst to one another, and walking right in. They don't know Always is there. Yeti hasn't cleared it out. Down goes Rexon. The Soniqs will lose the focus towards the bathroom. Above, Kansan trying to bait out a nitro cell, should one exist. There's one in the hands of Joystick, but it's not going to be ripped just yet. Always still inside of the main lobby. Yeti knows this. Looks the wrong way, loses the fight. Back to a 2v2 with 10 seconds to go. The Soniqs have to rush on in. Super getting the diffuser down, but who's watching? Joystick creeping up. Does he know exactly where Super is? He's totally blind. Diffuser goes down and he sees him firing away. Damage being done, but Grixer takes out Always and Joystick. A beautiful shot on the Super. 1 left to go, but it's Grixer to win the day. 3 kills for Grixer, and the Soniqs are up 2 in a row.
You know, I could make a joke about Joystick sprinting there in that 1 versus 1, but I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt because he's a fellow European. I'm nice like that. It happens to everybody. But ultimately, I think the way Soniqs is playing Coastline right now might be really odd to Empire. When I'm watching their gameplay, it's like they're kind of nowhere, but then they're kind of everywhere. Yeti in particular is kind of usually on the opposite side of the map as to where his teammates are from, or where they are. It was a master bedroom vertical take originally, but you had Yeti on the hookah balcony, joining big window, aqua balcony, running around the map, killing default cams, opening windows. It's quite well done, and I think Empire might be in a similar boat as I am, where I'm like, what exactly is going on? Where is Soniqs actually attacking us from? I'm not quite sure. And so far, it's working out quite well. It was unfortunate for Empire that they had no information on the situation previous round. Super was planting with no cover, and nobody from Empire wanted to push in because they were assuming That would never happen, because why would you plant with no cover? So, information. Empire needs it. They got 2 bulletproof cameras now. One from Always on Melusi, one from Cypher on the Jaeger, and hopefully that will kind of turn those situations around where now they might be able to see.
So as you can tell right now from what you're looking at, this is a kitchen defense.
This is the kitchen defense.
This time it's kitchen. That's a joke, by the way, for all of you, I don't know.
They know that. Parker, you are, as you said, you're still here, and you've been here for quite some time, so you must know somewhat.
I'm sure you could probably go back and take every time I misspoke in my career and probably stitch them together, and it would be the full length of a best. That's my guess. I have no doubt you could do that. So
is that a good or a bad statistic? Like,
I mean, when you're me and you've casted for probably thousands of hours, I feel like it's even if only 1% of the time, that still ends up being an awful lot. So that said,
you're pretty good at your job.
I try my best. Thank you, Nick.
I wasn't saying that you are. I was more like saying like I guess you are. Like if that's the statistic.
Thank you, I guess.
I'll give you a compliment further in the tournament once I see if you have potential to keep this up the entire way through, because this is the first match. We cannot determine the players or the caster's skill level just yet.
Well, Grixer is 5-0, the Soniqs are 2-0, and we are 1 minute in here to round number 3 on Coastline. For those of you not looking at the top, okay, never mind. Sorry, there's a match breaking out in the middle of me speaking. The first kill technically goes to the Soniqs, but immediately traded back by 2 kills from Empire. So they get the upper hand immediately in this bout.
Yeah. This is one of those stats where, well, opening kill went one way, but they trade back with 2 more, so joke's on you, Empire. They are the favors of the situation, and that's the top gunner of Grixer and second top gunner of Yeti off the board, and you're trading Dan, your second bottom fragger, so statistically speaking, this is wonderful for Team Empire. Kansen almost wants to make something about that, but Joystick finds a great shot with the SMG-11 long distance. Rexen does not find the kill just yet, has to back up, but it's a 1v. He doesn't care.
What a beautiful shot by Rexen. He and Super will have to work together, and Super, while in clutch situations, has not been particularly strong. He's still been able to keep pace with most of the players in this lobby.
He has.
1 minute to go, and Empire does have a numbers lead, but look at their HPs. Rexen is a tiny bit missing, about the same as Scyther. Always is at half HP. Shepard is a single bullet away from death. But Shepard does still sit on 2 of those toxic canisters, so he's got some denial. Make that 1 as one of the 2 used to smoke off the mudroom door. That's where Super is positioned with case in hand. A default plant is most likely for Super, which means that Rexen will have to cover in what will essentially be a 1v3. That is a tough spot to be in. Rexen will reposition, though. I don't know what the call is being made here, but he's heading back over towards delivery or even main lobby to maybe flank on through. The door is open, so he'll creep on up. The backside of Always could be presented to Rexen if nobody sees this. Is there a default cam? No pivot just yet, but there we go. The Melusi looks on over. He goes for 2, but only connects onto 1. Rexen has all 3 kills in the round. Super looking for 1, but he's in the midst of the smoke. 10 seconds left, and Rexen doesn't see playing by the bar as Super is in. He can't go for the diffuser. Rexen is dropped, so Super tries to bait it out, but Empire shut the door on a potential comeback, and that's the first round for the Russian squad.
That is in that exact position where Super has to actually aggress up with his teammate. There's no plan possible there. Yeah, I know Super didn't go for it. He faked it out for the sound in hopes that Empire would swing him, but if you push through that smoke and you get in a position to help your teammate in that 2 versus 2, that is ultimately what you have to do there. What a nice try. The lobby flank almost worked out for Rexen. Like, the last player, or the second last player of Empire, survived with a slither of health. They're both so low, but it wasn't enough. Now we've been through most bomb sites. We're not gonna go to Penthouse just yet. We're going back up to Hookah instead. Same 6-week kind of coming out, the Mozzie into the Jaeger, and then actually, very last second there, Yeti 6ing onto the Nuke. Now, the Nuke does see play on these kinds of maps where it's a very big, wide open map. You cannot control every single entry point as a defender, so it makes sense. With Valkyrie being banned, it makes a little bit less sense because there aren't going to be a whole lot of cameras to kind of maneuver around, but still, having this Nuke around the map with how Yeti's been playing so far could actually be very beneficial because he has been kind of a ghost this game. He's kind of everywhere and nowhere at the same time.
So, back upstairs to Hookah. Rotation is done, by the way, from the Soniqs. They go towards, or Empire rather, they go from Hookah to Kitchen to Double Bar. And we're going to see another opportunity to go to Hookah. I'm just eager to see Oryx come out on screen yet again and see what we can have accomplished, because I feel like every time Empire run on Oryx, they die early. First death always, almost never traded out. So, not great.
That's the issue, right? If you're the fast operator, who can keep up with you, right? You're going to be alone sometimes. You're going to be up in the fray, up in the face of enemies. And sometimes, well, if you lose, then you lose, and there's not a whole lot of tradability happening there.
For those that are watching that might be surprised as to why you've been seeing so much Twitch here at the Six Invitational, well, buckle up. It's very likely that this operator will have a much larger role moving forward, because on LAN, your hit reg is totally different. Your ability to lean and get picks is very different from having to play online with ping. And the ability to jiggle peek doesn't really exist. So guns that have extremely high rates of fire, which by the way the LMG does not, but Grixer has been so good at these opening picks, he'll get yet another. It's Dan to fall. Dan has been on the wrong side of an opening pick almost every time.
It's the Ghost.
Yeti is in, by the way, as Nook. Nobody seems to see him. There you go. Do me a favor, say what operator Yeti is playing.
Nook.
There you go. Beautifully said.
That's the right way. That's the Danish.
A Danish operator from a Danish man.
Oh!
This is just a frenzy, by the way. We're not even halfway through the round just yet, and action is happening all over the map. Dan and Joystick removed from action, leaving Shepard always and Scyther up. Those are the three from Empire. No real damage has been done to the Soniqs, if any damage done at all, but Kansan was in the middle of the site, and he gets met with a shotgun blast from Shepard, so Empire are trying to charge back. Super killed by Always before the diffuser can be planted, but it's a double from Grixer, who's only died once, 7-1 on him, looking to increase that tally. Both Scyther and Shepard will have to retake the bomb site and try to grab that diffuser that is right now sitting by the B-bomb, or at least watch it over. But a nade will go off. Shepard hugging on that pink bar. A drone goes by, so Scyther gets spotted. He'll walk back. Rex on an upside down rappel. He could have a good vantage point towards where VIP is. And that's where Scyther's located. They'll creep up as the smoke goes off. Scyther edges ever closer to the map. Grixer finds his third kill and a fourth to boot. He's on 9 kills now. What an impressive start through those 4 rounds. More than 2 apiece. And the Soniqs, again, up by 2 rounds. It's 3-1.
Not just that, but if my math is right, Soniqs has gotten every single opening kill so far. That was the one round where Soniqs got the opening kill and Empire got 2 kills back, but technically the first kill itself has gone to Soniqs every single round so far. Grixer, majority of those. I really enjoyed what Soniqs did there at the end. After Super was so close to planting, I think maybe even sub 1 seconds, they slowed down. They went back out the building, they held their angles, they repositioned, and they got ready together. Then the smokes got popped from that big window repel of Twitch, and then they started walking back into the building and back into those gunfights. Soniqs understanding that they're not in a rush. The entire round played out in the first minute and a half. They could take 20-30 seconds. Just breathe, reset, don't rush it, set it up, play clean, and they did. And they get rewarded with a nice victory with 3 players against 0. Now, going to the kitchen. Hookah wasn't working out for Team Empire. Last time out on kitchen, it was weird. It was that situation where they came from lobby and white stairs, they got the kill onto the security player, then somehow Always was hiding on that main lobby desk. They walked completely past him. He got 2 kills, and then we had Super planting in a 1 versus 2 basically because his teammate wasn't quite with him. But Soniqs, they got the round at the end with Grixer clutching out the 1v1.
Grixer's been so damn good.
So damn good.
He's got a 4K, he's got a 3K, and that right there is 7 of those 9 kills in 2 rounds alone. And some people will say, oh, he's just abusing Finka.
But he is, kind of.
I mean, maybe he is. Maybe he is abusing Finka, who knows. But I could tell you right now that he's doing a damn fine job on his role. Yeti might not be on Nook this time, but he's equally as slippery as he punches 2 of those panels inside of office and now creeps his way forward. And, if he keeps going through security and they drone out main lobby, he has a great line of sight to the back of that smoke right now playing inside a service. I don't know if anybody can spot this, but if Yeti's a little bit quicker, he could potentially do something here. Always at the bottom of the main stairs, so if he gets droned out, this is another double kill for Yeti lined up, or at least as close to it as you're going to get.
I do like how Soniqs is choosing to play around this. So, fun fact, you would argue that Yeti should play Lion here, but they're bringing the Maverick in case that VIP wall being reinforced. The run comes in from Always, the drone comes out, Yeti gets the opening kill, and again, the Ghost, nowhere and everywhere, finding 2 opening kills now back to back. 1 on the Nook and 1 on the Maverick. doing really good work. And this is, again, Empire having a hard time gauging what exactly is going on. Why is there a guy in security? And again, we have no information on this. They're not spread very thin. Empire playing a little bit more together, which usually is great, but you're not gonna know exactly what's going on around you because no information.
Down goes Dan. He has been ineffective on defense more often than not, and poor Dan just having a rough day right now with this team. The Capkin will be no more, but we talked about persistence, the gadget persisting, and Dan's gadgets will continue to stay up. Joystick looking to soften somebody up as he's on a deep flank, while that will leave just 2 players from Empire to watch the actual bomb site. And they're going to swing for the fences. Why not take chances? Grixer breaks double digits with that kill. First one coming out for Empire. That's Scyther getting one onto Yeti. Still at the top of the main stairs. He'll have to walk on down, but Rexon is waiting for that. The 2 players from Empire, both positioned by the main lobby. They are miles away from the bomb site, which right now is completely vacant. But the Soniqs don't know this, by the way. There's a minute to go, and the Soniqs can waltz into the bomb site, get the diffuser planted, and get out of there, and there's nothing that Empire can do. Instead, Empire are going to put themselves in a very strong position, and this is just poor drone work and poor wherewithal from the Soniqs. They finally figured it out. They'll break through service right now and continue to march into the bomb site. And Scyther will be the one man to stand against it. Right now at kitchen door, he doesn't have a line of sight towards Super, who gets that diffuser down. And Scyther now knows that there's a bomb going off, and the Nitro Cell will miss. So he'll have to battle with Super. He does a miraculous job of that, but he's not long for this Earth as Kansan stops him. And yet again, the Soniqs are so triumphant on attack. They've got 4 rounds through 5 here on Coastline.
That's a nice one. I like that. Honestly, yeah, as I was saying, Yeti is doing a tremendous amount of work right now. He's like the MVP of Coastline with Grixer. Grixer got the kills, but Yeti has that map pressure, really making Empire second guess what territory is actually theirs, and I'm loving it so far. Now he's showing the Diana. Every time he's done that so far, he's basically 6-picked off it, either into the Maverick or the Nuke. We could see a Lion coming out. We could see him stick Diana. Either way, we need to keep our eyes on Yeti's performance here together with Grixer because they're absolutely on fire. And right now, no one from Empire is really stepping up to this challenge. Sure, as a team, they're sitting on 2, 1, 4, 4, and 5 kills, so not that far from each other, but no one is really like an outstanding outlier saying, you know what, Grixer has 10, I'll do 11. That's not the case in this situation, and it's bleeding rounds for Team Empire because there is just so much more gunfighting potential from the side of Soniqs.
Well, final round now for Team Empire on defense. The objective still very much in the hands of Soniqs as they're going to have one more round to try and grow an even greater lead here. This is not the start that Empire wanted, and I gotta say, we're kind of ignoring the result on Oregon, Nick.
Yeah.
We're ignoring the fact that Soniqs lost a heartbreaking matchup where they were in the driver's seat for the entire match. They choke it out, they lose in the final 2 rounds, and you come to Coastline and it's very easy for a team to just tilt off the face of the earth. But to keep your composure, to keep yourself mentally in the game, I think, is a great sign for Soniqs moving forward. This motivation that Empire seemingly didn't have in Sweden, and now here, the curse of Sweden on Empire is still continuing forward. This is a bit of a scary predicament as now Joystick goes down, and again, another one. 6 opening picks for the Soniqs in a row every single round on Coastline. The Soniqs have been the ones to keep the pace by getting this opening pick.
I know some people will say that this is Coastline attack, so it's really easy to go 4-1, and I would say it's easier than being defense and going 4-1, but I really wouldn't take this away from Soniqs. They are playing a really good attacking game, and Empire, yet to adapt correctly into it, they're still trying to find their footing. Some rounds they try to play aggressive, some rounds they try to play more passive, but either way, they've been met with a lack of success. However, Dan finds some success for him and his team as he finds Yeti, and almost finds a second gunfight comes out. It's a trade between Dan and Kansan as they take down each other.
Well, I mean, that still favors the Soniqs, though, Nick, because now you have them in a... No, okay, never mind. They're down for the count. Rexon is all gone. It's Shepard to get that kill. Super and Grixer as the duo to stand against Empire, and Empire looking in their way to try and keep this one close before switching sides. If this is an attacker-sided Coastline, a victory here for Empire means that it is not as hard for them when they inevitably go to attack.
Yeah, I mean, a 4-2 split for Empire here would be the like very much preferred outcome for them, of course, and 5-1 for Soniqs would really put them in the driver's seat. But I'm also a little bit curious that if will Soniqs start slowing down when that win is near, because that's kind of what happened on Oregon. They need to keep up this aggression right now. Super gonna try and get down the plant. Grixer will cover.
And there it goes. Halfway there for Super. Grixer with his 11 kills needs to be perfect here. And it's a jump out through the window of the Jaeger, who will now rotate. They know exactly where it is. Super gets away with a lot of damage done. And they will reposition, knowing exactly where that diffuser is. Grixer will go to the window. He's going to have a vantage point. But already, Scyther has just jumped on it. He's on the diffuser. Nobody seems to know. He's still sticking it. You need to do something. 1 second away, the last man standing. And the fury from Soniqs, as under their noses, Empire plays it perfectly, and they get the disable.
There was one thing in the calculation that Super and Soniqs did not intend for. There was a deployable shield on that default position. So fun fact, when the diffuser was planted and Super went for that window for post-plant position, the deployable shield blocks the angle from Super, rendering him useless in that position, and Joystick just sticks the diffuse and gets it. Oh my god. I didn't check if the finger had any explosive left to deal with that shield, but either way, that deployable shield is a tremendously sad way to lose the final attacking round. 4-2 split. Empire can be really happy with that. They can laugh it around and say, haha, they didn't really calculate for that. We got a freebie, we'll take it. Soniqs, honestly, don't worry about it. 4 attacks, it's good. Now you gotta show up with defense. Next round, next round, next round. Nothing else matters.
Just reset after every round. That's really what it boils down to, right? Just reset, get your head back in the game, and go for it. That's all you can really hope for in this case. And the Soniqs lose a very frustrating round. Grixer does a miraculous job in the post plant. Keeps control of the window, hops in, gets the kill, flushes out the 2 last players. Super got a kill, by the way, but the second player that was flushed out, they knew that was sitting on that diffuser. Grixer was just a second too slow, and sometimes a second is all that matters. Grixer with his 12 kills, we'll keep fixating on that number, is going to play on Oryx. This was an operator that Team Empire brought out with Scyther playing it. And I am fascinated to see how it's employed by the Soniqs.
I mean, seeing as how lethal Grixer has been so far, I would say if anyone's gotta go fast, it's gotta be him, right? I mean, he's gotta make it work. Give that guy a good gun, give him speed, and I'm sure he'll find a kill or 2 every single round. I'm not doubting that one bit at all. So, kitchen first bomb site for Soniqs. We saw Empire play this bomb site out twice, and well, neither time they won that. They ended up on the bar, they ended up at top, but now they gotta look to the future. Can Empire now keep up the momentum?
Empire's only wins on defense, by the way, were on the double bars, Nick. So, I'm interested to see what the win rate ends up looking like on Hookah and Kitchen. There's been no Penthouse Theater that's been played out, which is a little bit of a surprise because after the changes,
Grixer.
You thought that maybe we might see some Penthouse Theater. Grixer gets the very first pick on the Scyther. Down goes the player from Empire with the nades. Down goes the player on Empire with the hammer. Both of Joystick's nades have been used, by the way, and one of Dan's. So there's only a single frag grenade left in play. That is devastating on Empire's side of things. And again, the Soniqs have been perfect through these 7 rounds at getting this opening pick.
I really am curious as to why Empire isn't choosing to go above. They got the double vertical play of Bach and Sledge. Yes, now the Sledge is gone and dead, but they really have the tools to take Penthouse. And also, Soniqs aren't really holding the area of the map that well. They're not really committing that much utility to it. Now they're just kind of fishing for kills in that 5 versus 4. They're already a man down. They gotta find something soon. Otherwise, it's gonna slip away.
They might want to just rush in here through the window, but there is an alibi decoy in front of them. Down it goes to the grenade that was caught by the magnet. Blows it up. Still on the shield, though, is none other than the Mute of Kansan playing inside of the bomb site. They're going to scooch off. That was Super, actually, that was playing off of it, not Mute, funny enough. Yet he's still firing from far back with his back turned towards the Sunrise bar, playing this pixel angle. It looked like Yeti was the one to get it, but it was Kansan instead. And Yeti now looking for the main window, but he can't catch a single kill. Final 40 seconds left. Shepard looked like he was in the bomb site, but Rexon sees him, and that's case down as well. And you know that call is going to be made. Surrendered right now in the Viper's nest, so they'll have to pick it up. waiting to see what Always and Dan will do. Adrenal Surge goes off, and in walks Always, a kill onto Kansan, but still so much more to go. The case eluding them, 1 foot away, but he will decide to go elsewhere. Dan just hunting right now, with Grixer taking down, or rather engaging and losing a lot of his HP. Dan at 50% HP, Always looking for one as well. They need to get the diffuser down or go for kills, but 10 seconds left. The clock is not in their favor. Up walks Always, sees Grixer. Yeti in a 1v2. The Soniqs again at fear of choking this, but as Yeti backs away, he plays the time wrong. Dan has the diffuser, and Yeti will need to re-engage, and Empire gets it again. The final 30 seconds for the Soniqs are poor, and Empire plays their target prioritization right, and they take the round.
Empire playing so much for those kills that Soniqs thought they didn't have diffuser in their hands. It showed. Yeti backed up thinking timer's ticking down. We're gonna hit 0 soon. The round is ours. But at 1 second left, the plant started going down. The cover was there, and Empire, they picked up the round. Dan hasn't had the greatest of days so far. You said that. But I will also say that Dan has had a couple of rounds. If anything, I think Dan has had 1 round or so per map where he has really carried Empire in his backpack, ensuring that a lost round would be turned into a 1 round. He did it once in Oregon, he did it once in Clubhouse, he did it once now here in Coastline with more rounds to go. So as much as Dan has struggled today, he has really had moments of glory. Good job, Dan.
Man. Soniqs are just, they're their own enemies right now. The Soniqs are beating themselves, Nick. So many of these rounds, we see the Soniqs in close contest, and then they just choke. They choke at the last second. They play too passive. This was the story on Oregon. How many rounds did the Soniqs have a 1 round, or at least a really good chance of winning that round? Whether they had map control, or they had case control, or they had numbers advantage, and they played too passively.
Yeah.
They did not engage off of any of the intel that they had, and they allowed Empire 30-40 seconds to gain more map control, to find their footing and keep them in the round. And the Soniqs just ultimately are their own enemy in those final 30 seconds. It's something that we'll have to keep an eye on as the Soniqs go much deeper into this matchup because of the fact, or rather into this tournament, because if the Soniqs continue to make these mistakes, teams will start to look to exploit that.
It's funny, right? Because they're really, really good at getting their opening kill. They've got it all 7 rounds so far on this map. They had the most in Oregon and Clubhouse as well. But with that, they almost get scared of losing. It's like, oh, we got the advantage, guys. Let's keep it. Let's not like throw it away. Let's keep the advantage. Play passive. Play safe. But sometimes playing passive isn't the way. You gotta keep the aggression up. But if anything, make sure you play together. If you trade 1 for 1 and you start with an advantage, you will also end on an advantage as long as you trade out equally. So as long as you play together, you can play aggressive.
There's the Lion Scan going off. Down goes Always Yeti. What a play again. 8 rounds. 8 for 8. 8 rounds in a row where the Soniqs have gotten this opening pick. Kudos to them for how strong they have looked. And it's Always this time to be the one with an early grave. It was Scyther before that, Joystick the round before that, Empire the round before that. I think Shepard is the only one who has not been a victim of an early pick.
That would make sense. You know, play support, anchor roles, etc. If he's the first to fall, that means direct side hit or him really overstepping when he shouldn't. So, good job for him.
Absolutely. So 90 seconds burned off of the clock with Always down. That's the buck no longer available. The flashbangs are gone. Still tons of destruction from Empire. They're cooking a nade on the main stairs and it'll drop down, but a magnet grabs it. Super knows it's there, so he repositions. Kansan losing the fight to Joystick means that we're back at a 4v4. And Scyther will hit the Lion charge and continue to walk towards the bomb site. They are just above it. This is the double bars, and I'm correct that time on this call.
That it is. Rex inside of office, making sure that they're not going to give up too much map control. I like that from Soniqs. They know that office is clear, blue bar is clear, and pink bar is clear. So they know where the stepping stones are. But look at this. Is that Gemini? Okay.
It's not the real deal.
I thought for a second that they just full sent it into Cypher. Maybe Cypher is after all.
And yet he goes down to Empire, who are now just slowly clawing their way back. Again, this matchup tightens. It is an attacker-favored Coastline. I think that much we know for sure. Telltale sign of the Gone 6 goes off. An explosion in front of the eyes of Super, now watching the doorway, waiting for somebody to go at him, looking at his feet. Maybe he'll have a bit more accuracy when it comes to the drones. But Grixer inside of the main lobby takes down Dan. Joystick picks up his second on the Super. That was by the bomb site. Waiting to see, and there you go. Grixer will take out Scyther while Shepard getting the diffuser down. Joystick covering fire. Rexon is dropped, so Grixer will need to clutch. He's sitting on 15 kills, looking to try and continue to add to that tally.
Oh, he snuck out.
Diffuser's down in front of him. They've managed to get out of it. This is a tough spot for Grixer, but Empire managed to do an exceptional job again in the final 40 seconds. And we're all tied up, Nick.
4-4.
National stage. This is only the third real look that you're getting at Grixer against international competition, and while he has been an individual standout, the team that he plays with had some issues back in Mexico and in Sweden. Now, though, we see that he is doing a great job. 15 kills, 4 deaths through these 8 rounds of action. The problem is that he's not really letting anybody else get it. If Grixer's not getting kills, the rest of the team is falling apart. And it's not simply one of those things where they're feeding the kills to Grixer. It's that the rest of the team seem to be losing a lot of engagements. The next closest player that I would say has been holding this team together is Yeti. And that's somebody that we've praised a number of times. You in particular sang his praises when he was on attack.
Yeah. His defense so far hasn't been the craziest on this map, but I will say his defense on the previous 2 maps of Oregon and Clubhouse was really phenomenal, but his attacking side on Coastline was amazing to watch. I called him a ghost earlier. His scoreline right now is the devil. He is turned into a different kind of spirit. He wants to go more aggressive perhaps and really show his true colors. Yeti on that early roam holding down the fort of Kitchen and Stock, ensuring that Team Empire does not get in for free. And I think that's a great play, extending out. And again, that's kind of what Empire didn't do on their defenses. They weren't spreading themselves thin, so therefore Yeti himself could sneak into these areas. Yeti knows the name of that game and is now stopping and preventing Empire from doing the same.
Well, 30 seconds into this round.
He shut open the door and went on the camera. That was like, it was super sketchy.
Well, we have a spoiler for you.
Oh no.
We have a spoiler for you as now finally Empire gets the leadoff kill, by the way. There's a timeout taken by the Soniqs, and Dan is the one credited with that first pick. He's been on the wrong side of it far too often, but guess what? Not this time. Dan gets the last laugh. Let's do the spoiler after this round, by the way, with the next round, because let's do the spoiler after this round, rather. Let's make our way through it. Because, by the way, it's a nice spoiler.
It's a nice spoiler. I feel like I know what it is.
Oh.
Rexon got out, but Kansen did not, injured on the floor. Super taking a little bit of chip damage. Now Joystick looking for a headbutt. No, it's Yeti who finds it instead. Goes down the wide stairs. Rexon follows up on his headshot onto Dan. Now evening back the numbers, and they rescued Kansen. How great is that for Soniqs?
Oh, Shepard just tags Jaeger of Rexon, but he's destroyed either way. They trade back. Empire now the one trailing. The Soniqs need to grab some momentum here and regain the gusto that they had earlier in this map.
Soniqs really played together this round. They had 4 guys in the same-ish proximity, and the refrags crossing from each other, reviving. They really mustered a great advantage from being down a player. Now in a 3 versus 2, minute left, as long as they hold the crossfire, as long as nobody exposes themselves alone, they should have this in the bag.
Well, I mean, should is the key word here, because we've had so many rounds where it looks like the Soniqs should have it in the bag and then ultimately trip right before the finish line, that last hurdle catching them. And there's a smoke that's going to go to try and impede Empire from walking forward. They have the opening from inside of VIP. They want to get to that hookah bomb site, but they can't quite yet, and they're just watching the timer continuously tick away. On to drone work. They're going to have to be almost perfect right now to confront these last 3 players from the Soniqs, especially a shotgun that's sitting on Vase. If Always doesn't look in that right direction, Super can pop up and absolutely slaughter them, but it's Rexon from downtown looking for yet another 4 kills. No, Yeti credited with the final kill, as all of the teams seem to be in on the action, including the Toxic Canister, and the Soniqs regain the lead, the score 5-4.
Very nice. And then there's this bird person that told me about a spoiler? What's happening with that?
Yeah, there's a, let me mute for the next 10 seconds.
Muting?
By the way, Sandbox Gaming defeating Ninjas in Pajamas 2-1 in the very first matchup in the group, and just like that, this became a lot more competitive.
That turned on its head just there on the very first opening game of the day as well. I think a lot of people looked at that matchup of Sandbox Gaming and be like, easy, whatever. Maybe even some people did that for Soniqs Empire, like, oh, easy game for Empire. It's not. Every single team here is here for a reason. These are the absolute best teams in the world, and I wouldn't even go as far to say that there's a weak region right here. APAC is great, LATAM, EU, NA, they're all amazing.
This was something that when I talked to the teams, I always asked, is there a weak team in your group? I interviewed all 20 teams for those that didn't hear me say it earlier, and I talked to all of them and I asked them very similar questions. I said, who's the weakest team in your group? You would not be surprised by the amount of teams who said, well, there is no weak team in our group. Everybody deserves to be here. And I think that is absolutely correct. There might be a team or two that doesn't have a ton of experience at a high level internationally. Soniqs might actually be one of them, but I don't think you can call the Soniqs a weak team because of how well they did in the North American League. Just like you can't look at a team like M&M, who have no real international experience, and 4 of their players don't have any professional experience on a huge land like this, and turn around and say, well, they're weak. A lot of teams have said that M&M are quite formidable.
Yeah, I was going to say, if anything, I think most people would say M&M and Elevate because they don't know what to think about them because they haven't really seen them play yet. But I've been studying Elevate for this tournament. They look surprisingly good. And as you said, a lot of teams already know that M&M is a very formidable team, both making the EU Pro League and qualifying for Invitationals within like a time span. Very impressive in itself. Parabellum in North America tried to do the same thing, fell a little bit short, but instead we get TSM here, and I think a lot of fans are happy about that. As much as it would be nice to see new teams shining up, I also think for the sake of, I guess, the older storylines, getting those veteran teams here instead is also nice.
Yes. I think there's a good mix of new and old. Right?
Certainly.
And I am very eager to see, and this is a long event, I am very eager to see how deep into it we can go and what teams are still standing by the end of it. That said, let's get our way through this matchup, because while the other stream awaits for their game, we still have one to go, and this is certainly a close matchup. It's anybody's game. Just because Empire trails by 1 round right now does not mean that they are out of it. Both of these teams, with the Clubhouse and the Oregon matchups today, have shown that they can hang tight and really pull deep when needed.
I mean, look at this round. Both teams are slowing down now. The pressure is really rising. Half the round is over. No one's died yet. I believe this is the longest we've gone so far in this match. But as I say that, Super finds the opening kill onto Cycler. He's taken off the board, and now Joystick will make his move onto the yellow trade. Gets the kill back to Super, and they're storming the site.
Sacrificing a tiny bit of HP for him to walk on in and get that kill. Wonderful stuff to see that. Kansan retaking, but he has no idea that somebody's inside of the site. Joystick is still there, and it's Dan to pincer move him and take him down. Grixer and Rexen, 2 players from the Soniqs that you might actually want in this particular moment. 16-5 Grixer. We have to keep saying where he's at. Looking to get the diffuser down is Shepard, and he's going to do it quite successfully. Only 3 seconds left, but a blind spot from Grixer exploited by Joystick. Upstairs is Rexen, and he has to get back to the bomb site. This is going to be tough for him to do. Empire in the driver's seat on this retake from Rexen. Inching down the stairs, he engages with Dan and wins that fight. 2 more to go. Softening up the wall, but Shepard has the angle. Joystick no 4K. Sorry to say, it's the support player Shepard to get this, and even with 2 players playing from their rooms, fist pumps go out. Tie game yet again, 5 rounds apiece.
Very interesting setup from Soniqs. They brought the castle to the kitchen bomb side and opened up a ton of walls and angles and whatnot. And then Joystick just kind of had Shepard and the Hibana open up the castle barricade, ran in through it. They had a yellow ping onto Super, and once Super falls onto site, it really opens up the round for Empire. It's very difficult to kind of retreat back to the bomb site once the round has been opened up. So then, well, Soniqs plays the retake situation, and we all know that retaking the bomb site is extremely difficult because if it's hard to attack as an attacker, well, if you're retaking, you're basically attacking it as a defender. That is even more difficult, especially once that diffuser gets planted. Then you're just in this impossible-ish scenario where you really gotta have a dream come true if you were to try and win that round successfully. Going to double bar, the only bomb site that Empire won, and they won it twice. Soniqs will soon need, well, this round or the next, they will have to win a round. Otherwise, it's lights out, and Team Empire, they steal it away.
Well, the double bars, the double bars, the double bars. This is the 4th time that we see it get played, and why is that? As you pointed out, Empire wins it on defense twice. Empire have actually won the double bars every time. They're 3-0. Wow, 3-0. 3-0 on the double bars. I had to double check that we were on the right site. least I speak, or lest I speak, and end up getting it wrong, but...
It's really easy to mix them up, to be fair.
Yes, it is. It totally
You extend oppositely. So now it's double bar with a guy in kitchen. When you play kitchen, it's a guy in double bar. Like, that's just how it is.
That's just it from now on. Tie game, which means that we're going to need all 12 rounds, and this is my favorite round, Nick, because no matter what happens, we have match point. Some team is going to match point no matter what happens here. Will it be the North American League champions? Oh my Yeti, what are you doing, son?
I really respect the effort when the pressure is this high, when you're down, and you try and go for the aggressive play. Unfortunately, it gets punished, and it doesn't pay out for him.
Lots of intel coming in from Joystick now as he drones his way through that Sunrise bar, and well, it certainly seems like the attackers have a leg up on the defenders. Down goes Grixer. Unfortunately for him, everything that he's been able to do on this team will be for naught on this very pivotal round. Super now is zoned out of action by a grenade going off, and a flawless round for Empire looks very likely, but Kansan says no thanks. Diffuser getting planted. Super trying to inch his way up. He's going to walk right into the Yana and Joystick. Down he goes. Diffuser planted as well, and Kansan in a 1v4 has all the world staring at him. His whole team watching quite so intently. He finds Shepard, but there's so many more to go. Dueling away, out of bullets, out of time, and almost out of HP as he continues his walk on up. Rubbing shoulders with the Diffuser. On a drone, sees the Gemini. There's one just around the doorway, and he'll hop onto that Diffuser. A clutch for the ages in the making, but there's 3 players to walk on in. Who's going to be the one to get him? It's always an Empire now suddenly finds themselves on series point.
Honestly, it seems like Empire is ramping up as time is progressing. Very first map looked shaky. Looked honestly a little bit poor. Second map, we can argue that Soniqs kind of threw it away. They did, but Empire also rose to the challenge. Now third map, Empire not looking convincingly strong, but they are looking like they're actually taking this into their own hands, and for the first time in almost the entire series, actually controlling the pace of the match and the pace of the game. They went fast last round with aggression, with confidence, and almost that bomb side from the defenders became theirs in an instant. That's not something we've seen from them that many times. Now they've done it twice in a row. They did it on the previous round on kitchen defense. Now they did it on the one before the previous round on kitchen defense, previous round on double bar, and now we're going back to kitchen. And all Empire has to do is just do it one more time. That's it. It's simple.
4 rounds of the double bars, Empire wins every single one of them.
Yeah.
In regards to kitchen, Empire's won it once. The Soniqs have won it, what is it, 3 times? 2 times?
1, 2, 3.
3 times. There you go. What is that?
2 times. 2 times. They have not won it on defense, they've won it twice on attack. 2 times.
There you go.
Yeah, 2 times.
Perfect. So, we said it was do or die on Oregon. It very much is for the Soniqs now.
It is.
They had a breakout performance on Clubhouse. They had everything going for them on Oregon, and they looked to be the favorites, but they weren't able to do it, and they lost. They ended up losing, and that was that. Here on Coastline, the Soniqs jumped out to quite a large lead, but very slowly, Empire started to build up a comeback, and, well, now they're in a spot where they're on match point. They're on series point, rather. With Sandbox winning in the earlier matchup, this throws the group into potential turmoil for the Soniqs because no doubt teams still look at APAC as being the weakest region, but that's a massive victory earlier today that could potentially dent the chances for the Soniqs. I do want to remind people that because of the way the groups are formatted, there's only one team to go home per group. The rest will go into a lower bracket run where if you're out, you're out. That's it. So you just don't want to be the last team in your group. It's quite that simple.
Yeah, quite simple indeed. Honestly, I'm really getting happy watching Cypher. Like, the drone utilization that Empire has been mustered together here on Coastline, I honestly think that's like their key strength. Sure, they're winning gunfights. Sure, they've now gotten confidence, but they're getting so much information and they're so good at working with it. Again, taking almost full map control, minute and a half into the round. They always have yellow pings active on player positions. They know Grixer's inside of hookah. They know he's isolated. And now all they gotta do, if they can keep him there, is capitalize on that information.
Joystick up in the vase, sitting for but a moment, as now he'll go on to drone just halfway through this fateful round between the North American and Russian teams that we see. Coastline has been as exhilarating as we expected after all 15 rounds of Oregon were needed to get us to this particular point. The one team from this group who's not active today is M&M. We'll see them in action tomorrow, and I'm very excited to see what this EU qualifier team is capable of doing, largely led by the experienced Croatian, none other than Nilo.
Yep. That is a factual statement, and honestly so happy to see him back as well after what happened with him. Unfortunately, he was benched from Navi and just kind of fumbled in Tier 3 for a bit, then Tier 2, and then actually made it back. I love that story.
It's a great one indeed. Super's the first one under fire from his team after an extremely good 9 rounds, or 8 rounds if you want to be particular, for the Soniqs. They have not been the greatest in regards to these opening picks. But while this is happening, there's 30 seconds to go. Do or die, lads! Which one of you is going to make the first move? Grixer trying to engage, but he's unable to do too much to Dan, so a reload, a lengthy one, will come out from the LMG of the Zofia. Grixer quickly moving his way back down towards Kitchen. Shepard is in. A safe spot, to be sure. Looking for a diffuser to get planted. Yeti a domino. That's the first one to go. Will continue to fall larger and larger. Kansan taking up map control. The Soniqs doing a great job as the diffuser goes down, and Grixer spots the run out, but he cannot track. All of a sudden, it's a 2v2 with the diffuser planted. From above, though, the buck of always will reign supreme. He can very easily tear the floor open. Look at the HPs of both Grixer and Rexen. They are but a breeze away from death. A smoke tossed out from Scyther will try and obscure himself, still sitting on that diffuser, gunfire raining over his head. Positioned up, tense moment for the Soniqs fans. NA right now holding their breath as Empire look to do the deed. The clock continuing to strike away. Only 8 seconds left before they can get there. Time's ticking, time's ticking. Grixer, where are you? Walking up, past the point of no return, and the kill is just insult to injury. Well, it was a scary moment for Empire, but they end up getting the deed done, and they take the series 2-1.
Empire can be very happy with that after a weak showing in the beginning, ramping up as time progressed, and of course, what other map to do it on for Empire than Coastline, a map